So, believe it or not, we actually want to slow our application down. Not something we'd want to do in production for sure, but it is something useful to do in development, so that we can add loading indicators where necessary and see what the effects would be like for someone on a slower connection. So what we'll do is we'll head on over to our agent.ts file. So what we want to do inside here is add a sleep function so that we can delay our requests back from our API. And what we'll do is we'll say const sleep equals, and then we'll pass in the number of milliseconds as a parameter, and this will be a number. And what we're going to do here is use the process of currying a function. And currying is a process in which we can transform a function with multiple arguments into a sequence of nesting functions. So our next function that we're going to add in here is going to take our response from Axios as another parameter, and then we'll add another arrow, and from here what we want to do is return a new promise, which is going to be our Axios response. And what we want to do is say resolve, and then set timeout, and in the set timeout callback what we want to do is say resolve and response, and then pass in a number of milliseconds as a parameter. Now this looks a bit weird, but let's take a look at how we can actually use it. And after our get response, what we'll do is we'll add a len statement in between the len statement for the response body, and then we'll specify sleep and specify the number of milliseconds. So we already know that our get request returns the response, which is passed to our len method, and then inside our len method we're going to call the sleep function, which takes a parameter of milliseconds. But by using currying we're also passing in the response as the second parameter, and when we resolve this promise that we're creating here, then we're going to resolve our response and take in the number of milliseconds as the parameter for our setTimeout function. And the end result of this is that we sleep our request for a second before passing back the response body. And if we go and take a look at something that's using our get request, well, that would be getting our list of activities. So if I head over to the browser and I refresh this page, what we'll find now is there's a delay between getting the response back from the server. So what we'll do is we'll just add this same method to the other requests. We'll add it to the post and the put and the delete. And now our API should be slowed down. And if I go back and test something else and I try and delete an activity, we'll see that there's a delay. If I edit an activity, again we get the delay. So what we need to do now is take a look at loading indicators in our application and add them where we're making a call to our server and we're waiting for a response. And we'll take a look at that next.